Welcome to Adulting with Donnie. I don't know what episode number it is, and I don't care. It is Monday, March 15th, and I am live on Facebook. What's going on, everyone? Another Monday night episode. Monday night special. Not even a special anymore. This is like the third or fourth Monday in a row that I've done my show, which I'm actually okay with. I've been getting out of work a little earlier on Mondays. And in the absence of gun shop guys, I've been able to get an episode out on a Monday, which is nice. I usually like to do them on like Friday or Saturday, but doing them on Monday hasn't been too bad. So what's up? Did everyone have a good weekend? Happy Monday, by the way. I hope everyone had a good weekend. My weekend wasn't terrible. It actually wasn't bad at all. I went up to Rangeley to go do some snowmobiling with Ro. We got a little bit in on Saturday. It was fucking cold. We didn't do much. We didn't do too many miles. I think we did like 80 miles. At the end of the day, it was like 80 miles. So it wasn't a lot. And a lot of that was because there was a pig roast on the snowmobile trail. So we stopped into that for about an hour and a half or 2 hours, and made some new friends. And had some beers. They had a bonfire going. They had a pig roast, obviously, like I just said. They had a live band. They had a raffle going that I didn't get involved in. They had tubing for the kids, which was actually pretty cool. It's this giant. The whole thing was hosted by this family, and they have like a log cabin, and they basically just offer up their land to Rangeley Lake Snowmobile Club to host this. It's like a fundraising event. So they just offer up their land to host Rangeley Lake Snowmobile Club, and they have this really long hill, and these kids would go tubing down the hill, and then they had side-by-side ATVs with tracks on them to tow the kids back up the hill, which was cool. So kids go down the hill, and then they don't have to walk back up in the snow. So overall, it was a lot of fun. And then, we got up there Friday night. We left Portsmouth at like 5 o'clock Friday night, and we make the drive up there. We get in town at like 8 o'clock, and we went to, there's like I think I told you guys last week or 2 weeks ago, there's a bar there called Sarge's, and it's like it's been there forever in Rangeley. So we went there and got dinner and had some drinks together, and they closed at 11, I think, and right around 10 o'clock, maybe 10:15, these two guys came in, and they stood by the door, and they didn't seem too bad when they walked in. I didn't really notice anything crazy about them, other than the fact that they were standing there with no mask. And obviously everyone knows my position on the mask thing anyway, so I didn't give a fuck about that. And then they stood there waiting for something like a hostess to come and seat them, and they probably stood there for 3, 4, 5 minutes before they said, fuck it, let's just walk to the bar. There's 2 seats there, let's go to the bar. So they start walking, and as soon as they started walking, one of the waitresses was like, no, you need a mask, And so they stop in their tracks. They go back to where they were waiting, and the waitress went out into like the waiting area where they have masks. So she gave them each a mask, literally to walk, the 15 feet, maybe less than that, to the bar. So, I mean, everyone knows my position on masks anyway, so I'm not even going to get into that. But so they go to the bar, and they're sitting there, and me and Ro are sitting only a few feet away from them, like 5 feet away from them. And after about 20 minutes, Ro brought up that they were like baby talking to each other. Like, not baby talking like cutesy like you do in a relationship. Baby talking like like they're just slurring their words. They are completely like, I didn't notice it when they first walked in, but when they sat down and had a couple drinks, you noticed that it was easily noticed. I'm surprised they got served, to be honest. I'm surprised they even served them. But who knows? Maybe Sarge's was like, yeah, they're probably staying local. Yeah. So James said, did she crash? And Rochelle said that she only fell over once. she was following me, and I have not taught her the art of jumping from side to side on the snowmobile yet to throw your weight. And she doesn't have I told her this that night. She doesn't have a lot of weight to throw around, but she can make do with what she has. And next season we'll get out into a field or something, and I'll try to show her how she can maneuver around certain bumps by standing up and standing on one side of the snowmobile or jumping to the other side. But anyway, so these guys, they they're baby talking to each other, slurring their words wicked bad. And after a little bit of watching them, I was like, these guys are going to walk out on their bill. And Ro was like, no way, they're not going to walk out on their bill. It's a small town. Everyone knows each other. People see the same people all the time. I mean, I obviously don't live in Rangeley. And out of the whole year, out of 365 days, I'm probably only there for about 50 or 60 of them. But, plenty of people in town know me. So she says, no, they're not. And I say, yeah, they are. And sure enough, right around 10:45, maybe 20 to 11, this one guy stands up and starts to walk away. And it was at that point that I noticed this guy had an entire face tattoo that mimicked like a beard. Like imagine if you have a beard, he had tattoos all the way down his jawline, from one side to the other. And so he goes outside and walks across the street and stands on the sidewalk just staring at Sarge's, like waiting for his buddy to come out. And I was like, here it comes. And sure enough, that guy, the other guy that was sitting at the bar, he stands up and starts to walk. And they stopped him before he could get to the door, and they were like, where's your buddy? And he goes, oh, well, he's just outside. And the waitress is like, well, we're not letting you leave until one of you pays. And unfortunately, that's on you now. You're going to have to stay here until you pay for your drinks. I think they probably each got like 2 drinks. Looked like they probably each got like a rum and Coke or Jack and Coke, something like that. And maybe a couple slices of pizza. So their bill was probably like $25-$30. It couldn't have been that expensive. So I'm sitting there at the bar or at our table, and I can see outside at this other guy, and he's standing right next to my truck, parked across the street. And inside my truck is my laptop, and in the bed of the truck was my toolkit and a 30-pack of Coors Light and a couple other things, totaling. I mean, probably there was $500 or $600 worth of stuff in the back of my truck. So I decide I tell Ro I'm gonna go outside and move my truck, because the car that was parked right in front of the window, they had just left. So I was like, I'm gonna go outside and move my truck. So I go outside, get my truck, move it across the street, and when I come back, the dynamic of the bar has changed by a lot. This guy, in the course of the time that I was gone, at some point, I think he told the waitress to suck his dick or something like that, and that changed the entire demeanor of the entire staff. When I came back, Ro was telling me blade my chair, which was a term I've never heard in my life. I've heard of blading your body, but blade your chair, I didn't know what she was saying. And then she, kind of pointed, and I finally got what she was saying, and turned towards this guy. And the what I would assume is the manager or the owner of Sarge's was standing there talking to him, telling him, I don't care. I pay your bill and get out. I want you to pay your bill and get out. And this guy was like, I don't know if he was just drunk or neurodecelerated, or I don't know what was going on with him. But he's like, well, I can't read this bill. And the bartender, the bar owner or whatever, is like, the bill has your stuff on it, has everything that you got on it. Just fucking pay the bill. And he finally breaks out a credit card, hands it to them. Now the bill's paid, but he has to sign it. And he's like, well, I can't sign it because I'm colorblind. I can't. And the fucking, one of this female bartender, she's like, the line is right there. Just sign on the fucking line. That's all you have to do. Sign right there on the line. And, he keeps fucking around. And, the bartender even said to him once, like, you should leave a big tip for what you said to her. And, yeah, I mean, it was entertaining at the very least. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I mean, he seemed way too fucked up to start a fight. And even if he did, one of the guys that's like a busboy or something there, I guess he's like an MMA fighter in Portland, Maine. So it was entertaining at the very least, a little tense at some points, but that was fun. And then we went back to the house, and my father and his girlfriend were up there too, which not a fan. I don't believe I'll be going back if I can't essentially have the house to myself. Just me or just me and Ro, or just going with my dad, just me and him. But yeah, I don't, or also this summer I would like to go to Rangeley with Ro, her sister, her brother-in-law, and her nephew, their son. But we'll see. We'll see if we can make that happen. But yeah, then Saturday we got up, had breakfast with my dad and his girlfriend, and took off on the snowmobiles. Again, Ruby is a fucking machine, man. It is just so much fun to get on her. And like I said, 50 miles an hour, punch it, and the skis will come up off the ground. I got to get off trail a little bit on it, certainly not as much as I'd like, but I took Ro up to one of the scenic overlooks, East Kennebago Mountain, and then we rode a little bit more before turning around and heading back to Rangeley proper to go to this pig roast that was on the side of the trail. We actually stopped and got gas on the way there, and I went in to use the bathroom. And while she was outside, because the social butterfly that she is just starts talking to anyone within earshot, she strikes up conversation with these other three snowmobilers, and she was telling them about my problems with Arctic Cat. And this guy was from Connecticut, and he was like, "Oh, I heard about that. My buddy told me about that because I guess he had an Arctic Cat too that blew up." And he said, I heard about that. I went through the same thing, and my buddy told me all about his story about what happened to him. So that was cool, and the pig roast was cool. They raised a bunch of money. We didn't end up getting any barbecue just because standing in line was so fucking cold. We were just like, yeah, let's go just stand by the fire and have some beers. And we hung out for a little while. One of the guys that bailed us out the last time I went with Ro, one of the times that she got stuck, one of those guys was at the pig roast, and so he came up and shot the shit with us for a little while. So David, I addressed the gun shop guys thing last week on this episode, on this show rather. Gun shop guys appears to be probably no more. I don't know if or when it will come back. If you go back and listen to episode 110, last week's episode of Adulting with Donnie, I addressed that somewhere like in the middle or towards the end of the show. But it's a whole thing that I don't really plan to readdress tonight, but feel free to go back and listen to that episode. So last week I had said I wanted to talk about WandaVision coming to America, and then I totally forgot. And neither one is fresh in my mind anymore. But I'll do what I can. Coming to America was pretty good. I thought it was kind of funny how in the movie, and I won't spoil anything, but in the movie there's a scene in the movie where two people are talking about sequels and how they're never as good as the original. And Eddie Murphy fucking kills it. There's so many cameos in the movie, just like the first, Coming to America. The second one has even more cameos from a ton of different actors, and even a couple musical groups make an appearance too. Musical groups from the 90s, which was actually really awesome, just because like Coming to America was such a good movie whenever it came out, 1980s, either late 80s or sometime in the 90s it came out, and it was just such a good movie then. And then to see these musical acts from the 90s in the movie was really cool. WandaVision, I will say this. I was not interested in it. When I saw the trailer for it, 2 or 3 months ago, I was like, this looks like shit. And I really didn't even want to watch it at all. Someone, Alex Whitley from the USEC network, had posted something like, "I'm sorry I ever doubted you, Marvel," and he's right. You should not go into this show doubting that Marvel can put together an awesome show. Elizabeth Olsen has more screen time than in the show than she probably has in all of the fucking movies combined, because she is the star of the show. But it takes 3 episodes to become interesting. The first 2 episodes really suck. I really hated the first 2 episodes. Like, after the first episode, I was like, do I even want to watch another episode? What I didn't realize, and here's the thing, right? So we watched episode 1 of that show, and it was only like 21 minutes long, I think. And then the credits roll. And I was like, that's it? That's the end of episode 1? Because, like I said, episode 1 fucking sucks. So the credits roll, and I'm thinking to myself, like, all right, this sucks. And I hit the pause button, and there's 7 minutes worth of credits. And so I fast forward through it to see if there's anything else, and I don't see anything else. I could be wrong on that. Feel free to correct me if I am. But I didn't see any sort of mid-credit scene in episode 1 when I was just fast forwarding through. But then I get to, we get to like episode 7 or something, 7 or 8, and I got a push notification on my phone that said what the mid-roll scene for WandaVision episode 8 means. And I was like, there's mid-rolls? And so sure enough, yeah, there's mid-rolls. I didn't bother to go back and see if there's mid-rolls for the other episodes, but if you watch it, if you haven't watched it yet, stay tuned after the credits like Marvel does, and maybe there's more in there. So I can't fucking believe this bullshit. And maybe someone can help me. Maybe someone out there is computer savvy and can help me. I seem to have no space on my 500 gigabyte hard drive. My hard drive says it's actually 476. It's advertised as 500. My laptop says it has 476 gigs worth of space. And I was having an issue last night with my flight simulator. So I uninstalled the simulator and then I reinstalled it. And the simulator itself is 121 gigabytes. It is fucking huge. And I went to bed last night, and it's still, after after like 6 hours, maybe even 7 hours, it still had not downloaded all the way. So, I uninstalled it. I reinstalled it. Hadn't downloaded all the way when I went to bed last night. I get back home from work today. Now it's been almost 24 hours, and it still has not uninstalled. So I closed the program entirely and reopened it, and I guess what the problem was that it got close to the end of the install, and it ran out of space on the hard drive to continue the install. So I'm going through my fucking computer, I'm going through my file folder, and it says, I click on this PC. I went through everything. I went through all my documents, desktop, music, downloads, pictures, videos. I went through everything and deleted everything that I could, and somehow I'm still coming up with I only have 430, I only have 46 gigs of free space. Now, this is after the game has completely installed, so that's taking up a huge amount of space. But what the fuck is taking up 300 or more gigs of space on my hard drive when I've gone through and deleted fucking everything? So if there's anyone out there who knows something about laptops, and maybe I'm missing something, I don't know, is like my Google cache, is every search getting saved or something like that? And I can't imagine that's taking up space, but I could be wrong. But I mean, like, I have 25 gig. I think that my Gmail comes with 25 gigs of space. And, but that's all like on the internet. Like, I don't know if that's the cloud or what, but, it's all like on the internet. It shouldn't actually be taking up space on my computer. So I don't know where all this 300 gigs of space is coming from. I guess Fallout 4 is probably taking up a little bit, but still, that doesn't account for a lot of space. I'd like to know where all of this space is being taken up. So, I'm going to combine two of my topics here. Last week, Ro and I are driving from my place to her place. Every Tuesday night, I pick her up at her place and I drive her to my place. And then Wednesday morning, we get up together and I drive her back home, and then I go to work. And when we do this, we listen to a news podcast called The Newsworthy. And so last week we're leaving my place and we get this podcast on, and there's I don't know if you want to call it an article or a story. I guess a story. I guess there's a human rights group that is arguing for the U.S. to boycott the Olympics when they take place in China in, I don't know, a year or two, whenever they take place in China, arguing that the U.S. should boycott the Olympics because of sex trafficking, because of human trafficking taking place in China, and what a massive problem it is. And you can Google human trafficking out of China, and I'm sure you'll find probably a million results in Google about it. And what I said to Ro was, if that was someplace like Iran, excuse me, if that was someplace like Iran doing that, or some other country that we don't consider a first world country like us, if that was some other small, we would invade that fucking country. We would invade that country and take all of their shit and be putting up fucking temporary bases and forward operating bases, and we'd be doing all this shit, saying, we'd be taking down dictators and whatever. And but because it's China, and because they probably control the fucking world, all of our shit gets made there. All of our nifty little gadgets, this little laptop that I'm talking to you on, the little camera that you're seeing me through, this microphone that I'm talking into, this cell phone on my lap, all of it is assembled there by people making 15 cents a day, and they got to put trampolines at the bottom of the building so that when people jump out, they just bounce right back up to the 10th floor and get told to get back to work. And it's amazing how much the human trafficking is really an issue that's almost we're blinded by. Like, we don't want to see it. And to make matters worse, a lot of people, and myself included in some aspects, will say things like, well, if you don't want that, then you shouldn't have gotten into that life. And I read a story last week about sex trafficking in Maine, which I didn't realize was such a huge problem. It was actually Jess Rainville from the Chris podcast who sent me an article about it. Sent me an article about sex trafficking in Maine, and how in Portland, Maine, there's just a whole strip where there's just girls out there hooking every night. And there was a story of one girl who, she dated a guy. She's dating this guy for a few months, and one night he, picks her up, everything's fine, and then he brings her to this hotel, and at this hotel, she gets gang raped, and she gets force-fed drugs so that she becomes addicted to the drugs. And now she's addicted to the drugs, and they tell her that she's going to sell herself, and they're not even making money. Like, if you look at most of these girls, I don't know what the prices are, but let's say that it's $250 for an hour of their time, right? They're not actually leaving they're not actually making $250 at the end of the night. If they fuck 4 guys, it's $1,000 at the end of the night. They're not actually making that $1,000. And on top of that, I read a story a long time ago, like 10 years ago, about about that time aspect where it's, they say $250 for an hour, and really these girls will, like, they're trying to get you finished in the first 15 minutes so that they can leave and go hit up someone else. So it's not even really an hour of their time. It's not prorated like a fucking. It's not like if I go rent a plane for, and I say I'm going to take it out for an hour and I end up using 15 minutes, then I only get charged 25% of that. But I digress. These girls don't actually make that money. Like, they have to give it to whoever their fucking handler is. And in exchange, he'll give her fucking food, or he'll give her drugs, or he'll give her a roof over her head to sleep for the night for a few hours before she has to get forced back into work the next day. And they get them addicted to drugs so that they just have to keep doing it. So, where I've always said, like, oh, I've never fucking, I have no sympathy for someone who dies of a heroin overdose, because I never had that problem, because I never did heroin. Well, I also never had fucking heroin forced into my veins. But it shocked me a little bit to find out just what a problem the sex trafficking in Maine is. But then again, maybe it shouldn't, because I listened to a podcast called The Vanished, and they've had a couple stories out of there where, like, these girls get picked up and dragged off, and they're missing, and they get brought out to New York City to do the thing there, and or all over the country, wherever they want to take them. It's kind of a surprising problem for me to look at from Fremont, New Hampshire. Small town Fremont, New Hampshire. Portland, Maine is only an hour away from me, and to think of the problem that is. And I was watching Sicario 2 last night for a little bit, and there's a line in there where this, like, Secretary of Defense or something says, what do you think the most valuable commodity coming out of Mexico is? And Josh Brolin's character says, 20 years ago I would have said cocaine. Today I would say that it's humans, because you can charge them to get over the border, and then if they get caught, they get sent back, and then you can charge them again. The trafficking problem, and it's weird how we kind of just don't really, I don't know, people don't want to pay attention to it. And I don't know if that's, like, I don't know, some sort of deeply rooted sex is bad thing from the fucking 16th century or something, sex out of wedlock or whatever. I don't know where that comes from, that we are, that we have a war on drugs that we're never going to win. And the human trafficking thing has become so out of control, and it's such a huge money maker for so many different people that that's probably never going away either. So it's very unfortunate, and I don't know how to. I have no idea how to fix it. Ro was telling me, I think about hairdressers or something, like teaching. That might have been a domestic violence thing. Teaching different job occupations of how to recognize these problems and get authorities involved. Let's see here. Ed says, why are we fucking around with the woke shit and cancel culture? China's kicking our ass. Check out the border and trafficking. It's worldwide. Yeah. The pimp keeps it and they get a shot of junk. Yep. It's disgusting. People should be very upset. It causes crimes in every town. Yeah. I mean, it breeds crime. The sex trafficking breeds more crime. The more sex trafficking, the more drugs, the more robberies, the more everything. It's it's that old broken window theory of, a neighborhood with broken windows is going to have higher crime. And then if you replace the windows and put up new windows, then the crime rate will go down in that community. So, yeah, I don't really know. I wish I had a way to fix it, but I don't. Moving on. Sorry, I'm moving on from sex trafficking because I could just talk about it all fucking night long. This weekend in Maine, on Friday night, Ro and I started watching Venom. So we're about almost 2.5 years late on the Venom train. But neither of us have seen it, so we were looking for a movie to watch this weekend, so we decided on Venom. And firstly, really good. I wasn't interested in it 2 years ago because I don't typically like villain movies. Villain origin stories. Like I thought Joker sucked. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you say. I did not. I thought it was stupid. I didn't get it. I just didn't get it. I thought that. I genuinely thought that Jared Leto was a better Joker than fucking what's his name, Phoenix, Joaquin Phoenix. I thought that Jared Leto was a better Joker, and Heath Ledger was a really good Joker too. But yeah, I didn't get it. I didn't care for it. I didn't see what the hype was all about. I didn't see why everyone was like, it's the greatest R-rated fucking blah blah blah. Deadpool was significantly better. But we watched Venom, and we watched an hour of it on Friday night, and then we finished it on Saturday night. But on Friday night, or on Saturday morning rather, I'm telling my dad's girlfriend about it, and then my father comes in the room, and we're talking about it a little bit. And then my father, who just, nobody fucking likes to talk about politics. Unless, I guess there's some people that, like, if you talk to someone and you both want to have a conversation about politics, fine. Have a friendly conversation about politics. Have a friendly conversation about, like, well, I think that guns should be banned. I think that they shouldn't be banned. Let's talk about our different arguments about this and our different positions on it. I definitely don't want to talk about fucking Nancy Pelosi or Dianne Feinstein or Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump or fucking any of them. I don't want to talk about a person. If you want to talk to me about politics, talk to me about policy. I don't give a fuck about the elected official behind the game. If you don't like them, then vote that way. Get out and fucking vote, and make your arguments of who you're voting for by talking about policy, not by I just like Donald Trump or I just don't like Joe Biden. But either way, while Ro and I are at the fucking pig roast, I get 2 text messages from my father, and they are pictures of a gas station sign of the prices of gas. And I was like, "What? I don't know what the fuck this is all about." And so I get back to the house, and my father, I said something to my father about the pictures that he sent, and he said, "Oh, I didn't mean to send those to you. I meant to send them to my friend down in Florida and tell him that I'm really glad to pay these gas prices now that Joe Biden is president." And I was like, "Dad, I don't think that Joe Biden had anything to do with the gas prices. I'm pretty sure that probably comes from something else. That probably has nothing to do with Joe Biden being president, especially since they put him on ice as soon as he was fucking inaugurated. You barely hear a word out of him anymore." But so Saturday night rather, Ro and I go out to dinner. We come back from dinner, and my father is sitting there, and he's like, "Yeah, we tried to watch a movie, the Vermin. We tried to watch the Vermin movie, the Vernon movie, the movie, and it's got like a space crash, but it just kept clipping. I don't know. Like this is exactly how he's talking." And then we went upstairs, and I was like, for a guy who really fucking hates Joe Biden, he seems to talk a lot like him. Which I got a good laugh out of, saying that. He just, some of the dumbest shit in the world comes out of my father's mouth. I love him to death. But when it comes to talking politics, I just wish he would shut the fuck up. I wish he would just turn off the news. I tried to tell him a year or two ago, next time you're having an argument with someone about politics, maybe say, what can I do? What can I say right now to change your mind on this topic? And when that person says, nothing, my mind's made up. Okay, let's move on. Next topic. Why are we going to keep talking about it? What's the point of continuing to talk about that? There is no point. If I can't change your position on something because you've made up your mind and I'm not the one that's going to be able to change it, then why are we even talking about it? So let me do some advertising before I get into my last bit tonight. Firstly, I guess I'll start off with my new sponsor. My new sponsor is Raze Energy. R-A-Z-E, Raze Energy. It is a sugar-free energy drink, zero sugar. This one in my hand is called Voodoo. I have not opened and tried it yet. They sent me a few different flavors. Out of them last night, I tried the sour gummy bear, and I liked it. It seems like if you go to reppsports.com, that's where you can find this stuff. reppsports.com. They have a bunch of different supplements, all sorts of like different kinds of, whether it just be energy drinks or workout stuff. They sent me pre-workout. They sent me some stuff to help sleep at night. They got stuff on their website for nootropic brain boosters. They have muscle builders, weight loss, proteins, recovery. So all sorts of stuff. You can get stacks. Obviously, they have apparel, t-shirts and whatever, if you really like their product. Excuse me. If you go to their website, reppsports.com, add shit to your cart, and then use offer code ADULTING at checkout, you will get 15% off of your order, off your entire order. So that's reppsports.com. And adameve.com. If you go to Adam, what two very different websites are sponsors of this show. Adam Eve also sells all sorts of supplements. I've been through plenty of them. I've told you guys a bunch of them. Let's look at the for couples. Oh, they have how-to and sex toy guides. Here's a link I've never clicked on their website. How to Masturbate. From Dr. Jenny Schuyler. Whether you spank them, what an incredible doctor. Whether you spank the monkey or rub the little man in the boat, this helpful guide delivers a detailed overview about everyone's hands-on activity. Masturbation. What is masturbation? What are the benefits of masturbation? Are there any side effects to masturbation? When done in moderate amounts, masturbation does not have harmful side effects. There's absolutely zero chance of you going blind or growing hairy palms. The most common side effect of masturbation is a deep sense of relaxation and rejuvenation. I assume that's probably why there's post-nut clarity. That's what they call it. That's a medical term, post-nut clarity. That's why when you have a really big decision to make, you should rub one out, and then yeah, you'll be fine afterwards. You can think clearly. It's a different story if you masturbate excessively, i.e. multiple times a day for an extended period of time. Frequent masturbation can make you feel tired, but you'd feel tired if you were having sex multiple times a day too. Chronic male masturbation can reduce your sensitivity, making it more difficult for you to have an orgasm with a partner, especially if you use the same technique over and over again. Female masturbation, on the other hand, is completely side effect free. All right, that is female privilege. It is possible for both men and women to become addicted to masturbation. However, that's caused primarily by psychological factors, the same ones that led to other addictions like gambling or drug abuse, and not due to masturbation itself. So this is a cool little article on adameve.com. And actually, there's all sorts of how-to here on Adam Eve. How to have anal sex, how to clean sex toys, what are sex swings, how to use a sex swing, what are sex toys. Let's see what's in the best sellers for couples. Beginner's bondage fantasy. I don't really understand the whole bondage thing. I've never been into it. I've never, the whole whips thing and forcing it's just never been something that interested me at all in any way. Like, I don't know. When I have sex, I want it to be consensual, I guess. I guess I'm weird like that, right? I guess I'm very weird like that. I want it to be consensual. How dare I? But if you are interested, the beginner's bondage fantasy is $24.95, and if you use offer code adulting at checkout, you'll get 20% off your order. 20% off, or 50%. I'm sorry, 50% off. Now that I have multiple sponsors, I'm confused on who gives what discount. I'm gonna have to talk to some of these people. 50% off and free shipping and a bunch of free gifts too with your order. So that's adameve.com. Use offer code adulting. And how fucking far am I into this thing so far? Joanne says Cesar Romero was the best Joker. I don't know if I know that one. 40 minutes in. All right. I have one more thing. And I will tell you this. As much as I try to make this show kind of funny and humorous, I don't think this next part is going to be funny or humorous. I think, if anything, it's going to be a little bit vulnerable on my part, but I don't care. It's my show. I'll do what I want. Let me just, because I'm going to need my mouth. I'm going to need to wet my whistle before I get into this. So, last week, I think it was, Ro texted me and told me to really take a moment for myself that day. She recognized a lot that I had been through lately. Some things I've told everyone about. Some things I've shared some parts. And some things I haven't told anyone about, with the exception of her and some close friends and family. Recently, someone close to me made a comment about my quote-unquote perfect life. They made that comment 2 different times, and it was not in a complimentary way. It was in a sarcastic, I'm glad you're so happy while other people are having difficulty type of way. And let me tell you something. I earned my happiness. I worked my fucking ass off to get where I am today as far as happiness goes, and I still have a ways to go. This person who referenced my so-called perfect life was talking about a few things. They were talking about Ro and I and how incredibly happy we are. Our smiles are contagious, and people love to see us so happy. They were talking about the new truck that I got last year. They were talking about my stable, well-paying job that offers great benefits. They were talking about my new snowmobile. Whether they realize it or not, they were attacking all the things I've worked so hard to achieve. Ro and I did not luck our way into this thing. We worked really hard the first 3 months of this relationship, and we continue to work really hard. Anyone that's been in a successful relationship knows that it's not just, sunshine and roses all the time. You have to work to make it work. So many things come so much easier now, and the small disagreements that we have are over pretty quickly and are never something you'd even end a relationship over. We set up our boundaries very early. We are a very happy couple, but we fucking earned it tenfold, and we deserve to be this happy. We both do. We've been put through a lot of shit in our lives, and we deserve to finally be happy with a partner. And all of you know the struggles I went through to get my snowmobile. There was a lot of frustration with that. A lot of stress went into getting from point A to point Z. Anyways, what I'm getting at is this. Today, I finally had a moment to take for myself and really reflect on where I am and what I've been through and where I want to go and who I want to be. I stopped my mail truck by the water, and I watched the cold waves and really thought for a few minutes. After all the years of stress, all the times I've had a fucking gun in my mouth, all the times I thought ending it tonight would be better than going on another day, all the anger and pain and fake smiles. After all of that, I'm finally in a place where I've wanted to meet the version of myself I am today. I'm happy, and people see it. They see the difference. More than a few people have commented on the glow in my face, a light returning in my eyes, signs of life. And for the most part, people see it and don't hold a grudge that things are going well for me. Maybe they wish things were going that well for them. I don't know. But again, it didn't come for free. So I guess what I'm trying to tell you is a couple things. Take risks. Don't be afraid to fail. Everyone always talks about risks of doing a thing, taking an action, but no one ever talks about the risk of doing nothing. If you look too long at a goal and never take the leaps, then your whole life is looking and not leaping. So take the leaps. If you're not happy with your life, make massive, aggressive change to it. Whatever you have to do, whatever it takes. Drastic, aggressive change. And it might just be changing your mindset. I hated the post office for my first 2 years. I hated every day of it. I was constantly looking for another job. And then I changed my mindset on the job. I realized all the good that was coming from it, and I fell in love with it, and I still to this day say it's the best job I've ever had. So that's it. Those were the thoughts I had today while I finally took a moment just for me. And my biggest takeaway from that moment was just that I'm finally a version of myself I've always wanted to meet. And I'm happy to introduce you to that person, and that you've all gotten to see it. So that is it for me for tonight. Suicide prevention line is 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-TALK. Or you can text the prevention line 741-741. And that's it for me. I'll see you guys.